I've gone through layers of decluttering paper over the years, but this was my most radical purge yet. I went from this to this, and you can do it too. How organized is your paperwork? If you needed something, could you find it in under a minute? Most of us have paperwork that's pretty chaotic, and we're living in a paperless society. It's getting more and more so every day, but we still have paper to deal with. From legal documents to instruction manuals to birthday cards, bills, and magazine pages we've ripped out. I have a whole new area for my paperwork. I have converted from having a full office to just this bookcase. And I will show you my DIY of how I flipped this piece of furniture in another video. But today we're focusing on the paperwork. Welcome to the Peaceful Home. I have a lot of issues and they've really come out in this decluttering challenge. You guys have probably seen my addiction to linens and pillows and how hard it is to get rid of things. But I'm determined, and paperwork is no exception. I'm normally a little more organized than this, but when I redid this piece, some of the things I was using no longer fit. And so I had to buy new organizers, and I have not had the time to put it in place, so things just keep getting shoved in here, piled up, and it's a hot mess. If this doesn't look so bad to you, you might really need to dig deep for a major paper declutter. In that case, I encourage you to check out my other video. I'll post it in the description box and put the link at the end. That will lead you step by step to get a system in order to keep all of that paperwork organized. I'm going to start by grabbing all of this and taking it over to my ottoman so I can sit and start sorting. Are you ready to declutter with me? Let's go. I'm going to grab some index cards and a marker, and I'm going to empty my trash. I also immediately noticed some things that belong elsewhere. Light bulbs, hair ties, paint, and a seam ripper. So I just put them in this basket, and for now I'll put them aside. I'm planning on doing a video of the various decluttering methods because there are so many great things out there that we can glean from. And today I want to talk just a bit about the Conari Method. And this is from Maria Kondo, and she's famous for two things. Does it spark joy? And gathering all of your like items and working on those. Now, this was really different when this came out because we typically decluttered closet by closet, room by room. And she switched it up by saying, go and get the books in every single room and bring them to one spot. Now, where this is particularly effective is with clothing. So if you've got seasonal clothing stored somewhere, if you're an empty nester and your clothing has leaked into one of your children's old rooms, or maybe you're storing things in a basement or attic, you get all of it in one spot. The second one is paper. Again, go and gather it from everywhere. So my other video does explain how to get paperwork from every nook and cranny of your house. For me, I have it now in 3 areas. I have a long-term storage basket in my closet, I have my main desk area, and I have recipes downstairs. Once you have this system in place, you can go a couple of months of not filing, of not even paying attention to what you've got in your inbox, and you can tidy up pretty quickly. And that's what I'm doing today. I've neglected this for months. I'm gonna start by going through my inbox, which should only have a couple of pieces of paper in it, and I'm gonna show you how I do my really quick declutter. With paperwork, it's pretty hard to just declutter without also organizing it. So if you want, grab your stack of paperwork and declutter along with me. This is a book that should go on my nightstand. A business card that I'm pretty sure I already put the info in my phone. That can go. Okay, I've got maybe 5 sheets of paper left on this little pad. When I'm doing a major declutter, I do not take the time to save things like this. I want stuff out fast. markers, binder clip, ruler. These are all office supplies. I'm going to put them all together. This goes in my planner. Trash. Receipts. I have receipts for my business, receipts for the Airbnb, and personal receipts. I'm actually right now going to just make a pile of receipts because then I'll have to go through and mark each one. This is a local magazine that had some really cool stuff that I thought our Airbnb guests might be interested in. So I'm going to put this with my other magazines. This is a map and notes from our trip to Arizona. I've done a couple of Phoenix videos, but I still need to do the Flagstaff ones. And so this is going to need to go with my YouTube stuff. These are notes for a parenting class that I do. Put those aside. These are some random scriptures that I wrote down. I'm going to put that with my Bible study stuff. And here's more from the Grand Canyon. Oh my goodness, we went to Horseshoe Bend. I haven't done that video yet. Absolutely magnificent. We saw so many amazing things on that trip. This is a client file, so all of my organizing clients have this navy blue file, so when I see one I know, I normally do a label right at the top and it sits in my file box. So I need to label this one. That's my decluttering challenge from 2 years ago. Now, this is the taxes that are due on our Airbnb. And these are quarterly. This is time sensitive. This is a bill I have to pay. This is normally what goes in my inbox. I put things in this basket and then every Friday I go through it. And if I do that, even if it takes 5 minutes, I just keep everything neat and tidy. So this needs to be put on my calendar so I know the due date, and then it's going to go in this basket once I empty it. An old menu scribbled on a piece of paper. A bill for propane that goes in my financial binder. Bank statement. Old coupons, toss. Again, receipts, I'm not going to go through them right now. This is a car registration bill that's already been paid, but I keep it in our file because of taxes. So I'm a paper person. It's one of the problems I have. Some people are not. I'm a visual person. I like to see things. I like them written down. I like checklists. I like to write down things I've already done so I can check them off. And I have some bad habits. I've really been trying to work on keeping my planner and notebook close at hand for any notes. But this is what I do. YouTube ideas. I scribbled them on some envelope. So I need to transfer this into my notebook. Now, once you get partway through, you're going to have these piles. And sometimes you're not quite sure which pile is which. I really like to label them as I go. So I'm going to take a break, set up some labels and get organized, and we'll move on from there. I switched to the floor because I needed more room. So now I've got categories, things that need to be filed, transferred to my notebook, going to church. Those are receipts, finances. What happened to my paper? I knew I had a... Oh, these are the same category. Hold on a minute. That's all finances. All right, there we go. And then hold, that would be things that are time bound. You know, for as long as this coupon book is good, and when I go through it eventually, it can be tossed away. Things that'll go back in my inbox, YouTube, and things to put away, magazines and office supplies. I've also got more index cards right here as more categories come up. Let's see, financial stuff, receipts. I think from Costco on awnings, we really need to put some on our upstairs. We get direct sun. But you know what? I can get this anytime at Costco. And this is not a project we're planning anytime soon. So this can go. Now I will tell you that I have 3 baskets that are for receipts, and normally I put those in pretty quickly so they don't end up in my inbox. But if I ever don't have time to label a receipt, then it goes in here. Glue sticks. Another writing on the back of an envelope. Oh my goodness. This is a card from my daughter, so this goes in keepsake. These are instructions for my lapel mic, and I need to put those in the instruction manuals. Oh, I forgot. I do have a 4th spot where I have paperwork, and that is a drawer in the desk where I keep our instruction manuals and warranties. And I used to keep them with everything else, but now I hardly ever reference them. And so I've gone through this huge stack down to the bare minimum. And for the most part, when I'm having like an issue with my vacuum, I'm gonna go online and say, troubleshoot, what do I do with this? You can find the instruction manual for anything online. More YouTube ideas. Okay, things I've ripped out of a magazine. And this brings me to this frame. I don't know if you can see it from here. It's got a backing board, and I use it with push pins like a bulletin board. It has burlap over it. I love this so much. Like, it's one of my most treasured things. And I loved pinning ideas on it, but now I do not have a spot to put it. And so I think what I'm gonna have to do is, I already have a file of things that I rip out of magazines. Now, because of Pinterest, I've really cut back on my magazine subscriptions and even how much I'll rip out of a magazine. It's pretty rare these days, but I do have a few things I want to keep, and I do have a file for them. I think what I'm going to have to do is just use this frame for something else. Now I realize I could speed all this up, but I think it's helpful to just see these quirky little things that I have in here and figuring out what I'm gonna do with them. If you're struggling to know, do I need to keep this receipt or not? For now, keep it. Just get them all in one spot. Here's a list of movies and TV shows that have been recommended, and I do have a spot in my planner for that. Some random notes on parenting. Blank paper. Different cleaning lists I've had over the years, and blank schedules that I use for my repeating weekly schedule. Those are probably things I'll do a YouTube video on in the future, so it goes in the YouTube pile. Mortgage paperwork needs to be saved. Paint samples, just a few, like 30. I'm trying to figure out a color for our trim downstairs. This is for a current project, so it goes in my hold bin. These are dividers because I'm going to be redoing my binders. They'll just go in with the office supplies. This is a really cool photo from Google Maps of our property. So you can see our home and Airbnb and the barn and the road, and then you can see the river going along. I'll put this in our keepsake box. Okay, emptied this out. 1 rubber band. I'm going to put the inbox stuff back in here. This is the normal amount that I should have in my inbox. Very, very small. I might even get a thinner basket because I don't need much, because this is what you go through all the time. And this is where important things that are time sensitive are put so that you check on them every week. Now these are what I would call my active files. These would be things that I may need to get to weekly or monthly. This has been my favorite paper organizer of all time. These slide out, they have this nice cork bottom, easy to label. These are from IKEA, and I have these at my office at church and at home, but these will not fit on the shelf of my new bookcase. So I had to switch over and get these bamboo ones. I'm gonna do that today, but meanwhile, I'm just gonna really quick put things away. YouTube, finances, hold, projects. These are things that need to be filed. This stuff needs to go to church, so it will go downstairs. I have keepsake things in my linen closet. I'll go put those away. And these are things that need to get transferred into my notebook the things that I wrote on random envelopes. These are mainly tax returns and mortgage documents. So from our home and property, and then taxes, that's it. I keep the most current tax return right on the top because sometimes you need to access it throughout the year. The rest are filed in here, and whenever I put a new one in, I go 7 years back, I pull that one out and shred it. So I just keep 7 years of tax returns. And these documents, which are oversized, so it works great to have them in this basket. Now these are my files. These are, I guess you would say long range as well, but not like my tax returns and mortgage documents. I used to have a 2-drawer file cabinet that was filled. But since the internet, things have changed and we can access so much online, and it's really reduced the need for paper. About 5 years ago, I did a radical declutter and got rid of the file cabinet and put everything in here. I've gone through it a couple of times, and now I'm ready for another radical decluttering choice. I want to get rid of all of these, literally all of them. And this feels a little scary to me, but now I have you as accountability, so this is good for me. These are the things that I use the most often. Sometimes though, it'll be a couple of months before I touch anything that's in here. But this, I go even longer. I'm going to go through this with you so you can see. There is so much in here that I probably don't even know is here. In fact, I think I'm going to make a guess. That'll be fun. We'll do that in a minute. But here's my thought. I have 5 compartments there, and this is the one that will not fit. So I have these 2 bamboo organizers, and now I have 6 compartments. So what if I had to take everything here and have 6 categories that would fit it all? That's my goal. This is a big challenge for me, and quite honestly, this was not in my plan. It was literally in the middle of filming when the idea came to me that I could get rid of this whole box. So that does seem scary because I didn't plan it out in advance, but let's see what happens. My old file drawers had 5 categories: current projects and hold, YouTube, Airbnb, finances, and file. If I'm not going to have a file box anymore, I won't need to file anything. Everything will go straight into the new 6 compartment system. So I don't need a spot for things to file. Also, I know that everything in the Airbnb is a project or an idea for something in the future. And I don't think I need an entire file for that. That means I can have 3 more categories that all of this needs to fit into. Right off, I just want to give you a peek into this, if you can see, but we're going to go through each one individually. So I haven't really looked in here for a long time. So first of all, I'm going to make a guess of the things that might be in here. I'm sure I have something for organizing. I know I have a file for our family tree. I used to have a file for current taxes, and that was like every time I got, you know, when you start getting all that paperwork for your taxes, I would drop it all in there. That's usually right at the front. I think I have a medical or a health file. I used to have a wedding file, but now that all my kids are married, I don't need that. Oh, I have a file for my husband because he's a musician and a chiropractor, and he has all these things. So like his relicensing for chiropractic, we have to have a spot to keep that. We might have a pet file. I want to say like vet records, things like that. Did I say decorating? There's probably something for decorating with all my magazine clippings. There could be a file for keepsake, which would be things temporary until I put them in the keepsake box. So if there's anything else in here, I'm like, I didn't even know it was here. So would I remember to come here to find it? Okay, let's see how I did. Oh goodness, I'm already seeing a lot of things I didn't know were in here. Here's my current tax file, and it actually has a couple things in it. Oh, those might be from last year. Okay, I'll make sure that's empty. I'll need a spot for that for sure. Old directories, and I do have an address file. let's see if there's, oh gosh, there's like one other directory in here. So that's it. And I actually have an old address book that I just keep in case. So I could add those two things and get rid of this entirely. I have an auto file, which is empty. I made a decision to keep any repair information that we need in our cars. So I don't need that. Art and DIY. Here's one idea for doing leather stamping, which I think would be really fun, but I didn't even know this was here. I think I can get rid of it. Debt payoff. This is for when we were paying off old debts. It looks like most of this can go, maybe one piece that can go in the financial drawer. Oh, here's the decorating file, but it's not very big. I used to have entire notebooks of magazine clippings. I will definitely need to keep this, so we'll figure out what category that's going in. Okay, this is important documents. And we have been discussing getting a fireproof safe. As much as I hate to admit it, being near the Sierra Nevada mountains, near the sequoias, we are at great risk for fire. We've had 2 very close calls this summer alone. And so this is all of these stuff, you know, the Social Security stuff, your birth certificates, marriage certificates, and we want to put this in a fireproof safe. So that means I need to put it in my planner on my to-do list, and then this will go in the current project file. Okay, there is a file for health. We need that. And this one for family tree. This is more of a project, but it's also information that's crucial. I think I could put it in our keepsake, but to be honest, it probably should go in the safe once we get it. I have a file for holidays. It has one thing in it. Insurance, empty. Now this is because I have a financial binder. Let me show you. Some of you have commented that you would like to see me do a video on this, but I have an entire binder. It has a tab for each bill that we pay. So that would include insurance. So all of that used to have files is in here. All the important info right at my fingertips. Here's my husband's file. Local places. Now, I don't know exactly what's in here. Okay, so this is a lot of stuff that would be nice for the Airbnb. I've worked on a couple of travel guides, restaurants, things to do, but there are more towns and areas to cover. And so this would be helpful. I probably need to get the other Airbnb stuff, put them together, and find a spot. Miscellaneous and tips. Here's a book recommendation. Oh, a couple of them. I don't know if they do this anymore. I used to love, in the Costco Connection, they would always do a book review, and they just sounded amazing. So I would rip some of these out, but I have a list in my planner for books to read, and I can add those and completely get rid of this file. Here's my organizing one. This is mainly graph paper and floor plans that I have for my own home and the info that I need to do this for clients. I love to do a scaled model of floor plans when we're figuring out configurations, where furniture can go, where it won't fit. So I definitely need this. Party. 2 things in here. Again, this is where if I need ideas, I'm gonna go to Pinterest. This is cool. It's a food and drink calculator. Like for every 25 people, you need this much of X, Y, and Z. I can get this online. We do have a pet file. What's in it? Let's see. Oh, the only thing in here is for our old dog, nothing else. So this can go. Travel, empty. Warranties, I didn't know I still had some up here. So this means I need to combine them with the ones that are downstairs in the desk so they're all in one spot. And what does that say that I didn't know these were here? This is how we collect stuff. It fills up our house and we don't even know what we have. I am so excited about getting rid of this stuff. More manuals. Here's the wedding file. There are a few things in here. Oh, and this is like keepsake. Wedding info and schedule for one of my daughter's weddings. Oh, I love this. This was an Idaho wedding for my daughter, Abigail. So this will go in keepsake. Will and retirement. This would go in the financial binder. And all of these are empty. I did it. It's all gone. And now I have to find spots for these things. For now, the family tree and wedding keepsakes will go in with my memorabilia. If I combine organizing and decorating, that would take care of one category. Really current taxes, I already have a financial file, so I could slide it into there. And the debt payoff, I just need to go through that file. Finances, decorating local places, future ideas, future tips, and it's important that you have a label that makes sense to you. This is why sometimes with clients, they'll ask me, well, what do you think it should be called? Doesn't matter what I think it should be called. The client needs to think what comes into their head when they think of this category, because whatever they think of is what they're going to think of when they're looking for it. I think future ideas works for me. And because I have 3 categories, I can have one for my husband and one for health. That means 6. I'm going to go do some labeling. I have never had so little trash after a paper organization. This tells me that I have been doing good work over the last years, a little bit at a time, going through this stuff once a year. I do try to do that every January. And now I have a system that obviously is working, and I have very little clutter. The key with any decluttering is developing habits to stay up on the progress that you've made. And for me, my Friday day of going through my inbox, oh wait, where's my inbox? This basket is a little big, so I am gonna look for something smaller. My other thought is that I might want to paint these. Either paint them a gray so they kind of like blend in with the bookcase and don't stand out as much. We'll see. I actually found myself down in the laundry room looking through my paint to see what I could find. And I realized that's not what I'm doing, right? I'm not organizing, I'm not decorating, I am decluttering. So because of that, I've got to put that off and maybe consider painting later, getting another inbox later. I put my cardboard file box and the white metal file drawers for donate. And I can't believe it, really. This is it. This is what I've got. Oh, I mentioned my receipts. They go in these baskets, and I know exactly what goes into each one, and it's a really easy system. I don't even have to open a drawer. I just drop them in. What is the state of your paperwork? Did you need this video, or are you doing okay with this? If you've been inspired or helped in any way, please consider giving this a thumbs up and subscribe to The Peaceful Home if you haven't already. If this is the first video you're coming upon, I will put the playlist to the entire decluttering challenge below. Don't forget to check out the full video on paper organization right here. And thank you for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.